Robert, you know that this is a difficult topic for me because basically I don't even know what's going on. So, your expectations for the tournament, the top teams, top players?
Well, I think you laid it out very nicely there, Lerato. It sounded like you were almost the expert. Yeah, but I mean, it's a massive, massive occasion when you look at it in terms of expectation. Equatorial Guinea as well as Gabon being the host of this, and I think CAF has done very well to try and spread it out so that you don't only have the big nations around the African continent being able to host such a showpiece. I mean, they're just some marvelous sides that are up there. There's some fairy tale stories. I mean, you look at a Libyan team that definitely was in a country that was in war, but they managed to scrape through and they qualified ranked 63rd in the FIFA rankings. I mean, they're going to be appearing in their third Nations Cup final. And who would have ever imagined that such a fairy tale story would happen, including our immediate neighbors, Botswana?
I'm glad you mentioned these fairy tale stories because if Libya and the Libyan team can overcome adversity to qualify, how does a country like South Africa that hosted the biggest sporting event in the FIFA World Cup tournament not qualify? What are the problems here?
Well, I think that's been the biggest shock, and I think that's why the South African public have been so annoyed by the lack of activity from SAFA in taking drastic action to try and rectify these problems. It almost seems like they've brushed them aside. We've got all the facilities, we've got the infrastructure, we've got the stadia, we've got the finances, but unfortunately when it comes to playing the beautiful game of football for the second time in a row, we're not qualifying through for the Cup of Nations after missing out on Angola. I just think there are fundamental problems that have to come through, and it's a massive disgrace, to put it very bluntly, that we are not in this showpiece, having been hosts, of course, that were kicked out in the first round of the World Cup, but just not qualifying for something like this, where there's an opportunity amongst 16 teams, and yet we want to qualify for World Cup in 2014, where there's just going to be 5 spots available from the African continent, which makes life very, very difficult. But I think South Africa, they'll have to watch from home. We and everybody else from tomorrow will kickstart. Equatorial Guinea gets to play against Libya. Then there's a fascinating match coming up with Zambia and Senegal. I mean, Senegal, they've got star players that really have shot from absolutely nowhere. You've got a Demba Ba that plays for Newcastle. I mean, he scored, 15 goals in 15 matches in the English Premiership, and he's the second top goal scorer to Robin van Persie. So, I mean, we've got stars from the Ivory Coast that are coming through. I mean, Zambia, for example. They, at under 20 level, recently won the COSAFA Cup as well that was staged in Botswana. So you've got strong teams, albeit the fact that the likes of Nigeria, Cameroon, Egypt, South Africa are not going to be taking part. We've got some very good countries.
What does it mean when some of the big guns, Egypt, Nigeria, are not there? Is it going to be a bit of a damper? Is it going to make the event a little less exciting?
I doubt that very much. I think this is just the right platform, the right opportunity for other nations to really step to the fore now and take charge and say, don't forget about us. I mean, I talked about Zambia. They went through to the quarterfinals in Angola, and now they want to go back to Libreville. They want to make sure that in honor of the many players that passed away in the tragic plane crash, they go back and do it in their honor. And they left the country. They were training here in South Africa, and they were saying that they want to do it in their honor. They've brought their best players. They've left out some very good players. They've included a teenager. They've got a good spread as far as players are concerned. Depth when it comes to playing the beautiful game of football. I mean, Niger, who were the same group as South Africa. I mean, they're in the rankings in the upper 97s in the current FIFA rankings. But they are through. I mean, it's countries with passion, countries that don't have much in terms of infrastructure, but who have a lot of footballing passion.
Let's talk about passion, because obviously for young aspirant footballers, they want to look at stars and they want to look at star performance. You mentioned a few coming through from international players who will be on the Senegalese squad. We know of Didier Drogba, but who else is a star to look out for?
Well, I think Yaya Toure is an obvious one there, Lerato. When you look at what happened in December in Ghana, he was chosen as the best player in Africa. I mean, he had just played a game against Stoke for Manchester City, and he flew straight to Ghana to go and receive his award alongside guys like Andre Ayew. I mean, Andre Ayew is the third best player on the African continent. He plays for Ghana, and he's a very young player, son of a Bedi Pele. Jordan Ayew is also included in that Ghana squad, also a youngster. They play in France. But at your early 20s and you're already being seen on the African continent as being the third best, for me it says a lot. We had saw glimpses of him during the FIFA World Cup here in South Africa. But Yaya Toure, certainly. I mean, in the absence of people like Samuel Eto'o, he will rise to the occasion. I mean, he plays from a midfield position, and he's a lanky player, and you look at him and you think, wow, where's the speed coming from? He's got the ability as well to finish off. And I'm just looking, at people like Yaya Toure really to rise to the occasion. You need an Ivory Coast to do well for this tournament to stay relevant.
Okay, Robert, in one word, if you are a betting man, which team's going to take the trophy?
Senegal.
Thank you. Robert Marawa there, renowned sports presenter with SuperSport.